Okay, let's talk about Airbnb's 15% fee that's coming up. If you're not aware, it's going to be October 27th for anyone that's connected to Airbnb through a PMS like Guesty, Hostaway, Streamline, Track, something like that, Lodgify, whatever, that it's going to be mandatory that no longer can you do the 3% program where then the guest pays something like 14 to 18%, kind of on a sliding scale. It is now going to be that you, the host, are going to be charged 15%, and actually it's going to be 15.5%. You can see this in the settings of your Airbnb account, and you can go ahead and opt into it now. And a lot of people are freaking out about this, but I've seen so many people misunderstanding this, both in all the various Facebook places, but also even some really good friends of mine, super smart people, just that at first it seems like it's a 15% increase and that they're doing this to punish people on PMS, but it's not. If you also look in, Airbnb's also saying that by December 1st, this is going to be across the board for everybody. So let's just talk about a couple of things and what you, in my opinion, should be doing about this. I'll tell you what I'm doing with my own properties. By the way, if you don't know who I am, Tom Powers. I've been in doing short-term rental stuff for going on actually about 18 years now, and managed many houses, worked for some of the largest companies in the world as well in the vacation rental and short-term rental industry, and I've even helped found some companies in the industry too. So anyway, what's happening is nothing new. You've been able to do this for a long time now, and certainly Airbnb's been pushing for this, and it's been well known for anybody deep into the industry that this was going to inevitably happen. And I don't like it, by the way, but I'm going to deal with it because for the time being, Airbnb's the king. And even though I think there's some very toxic things with our general relationship in the short-term rental community with Airbnb, regardless, you and me are likely going to take just about every booking that they send our way. And so certainly go for your book direct ideas and all that stuff. I'm a big believer in book direct stuff. I helped found an alternative OTA called rentals.com. It's rentals with a Z at the end.com. And we're doing some interesting things there. But for the meantime, Airbnb's the king. If you want to have a successful short-term rental business, you pretty much need to be on Airbnb. And here's the deal. Right now, and again, you can see this in Airbnb, if you're doing the 3% program, the guest is actually paying anywhere from an additional 14 to about 18%. And that's basically just on a sliding scale of how much the booking is worth. So in effect, when they switch to even this 15.5%, Airbnb will actually be making less money if you think about it. Because remember, although you're going to be paying 15.5%, the guest is no longer paying the Airbnb service fee. So it's really the same money to the guest. Now, we'll come back around on that topic in a second, while I still think that's damaging to us and favors Airbnb. But in reality, Airbnb will make slightly less money when this occurs. The reason why they're doing it, and I imagine they have some of the best data scientists and behavioral scientists in the world, because one thing Airbnb does exceptionally well is they know how to convert bookings digitally, okay? And often this is on a mobile device. And they know that the less line items that are on there and more closer to a true one price situation, kind of like the hotel world, they know that that will drive more and convert more bookings. So that's why they're doing it. And it's even why some people have already made that switch in the past, because it's no secret that obviously Airbnb will push you up higher in their own internal search algorithm if they think that they can convert a booking, because that's all they're there to do. That's their business. Don't let them fool you. Their primary goal every second of every day is to convert bookings and run money through their system. I mean, that's just what it is. Now, once it becomes universal on December 1st, then everybody's on an equal playing field. Between now and then, Airbnb is going to push those listings up higher that already convert. So I've made the decision myself to go ahead and do the conversion. Now, I personally use Guesty software, and I'll even put a link below in this video if you want to look. I used to work for Guesty. I don't work for them anymore, but I'm still affiliated with them, and I still help people get set up on Guesty. I'll put a link down below if you would like to entertain Guesty. I do think it is the best out there. Nothing's perfect, but it's pretty good, and if you get good support and training and get it set up the right way in the beginning, it's phenomenal. And inside of Guesty, I have marked up, you can individually mark up your various fees that go out to the different channels. So I can have my own direct booking page. Like, let's just use $100 for a nightly rate just to keep the math simple, okay? So if it's $100 for the nightly rate, I mark it up inside of Guesty for Airbnb. I actually mark it up 18% and not 15.5%, because if you actually do the math, if I then mark it up to 18, so then it would be $118, okay? You do the math, 15% of $118 is right at $100, my original target. Because you can't just mark it up to $115, because 15% of $15.5% of $115 is not just $15. Does that make sense? Replay that if you need to hear that again. But you can do the math yourself. Even on a, I don't know, $1,000 booking, you mark it up to $1,180, and that's actually what will still net you about $1,000, which is your target. So therefore, still on my direct booking site, it is cheaper by 18%. And I mark up for the same purposes for VRBO, which I do the 5% program with most of my stuff there. I mark it up to 6% to do the same kind of situation. I do that for the homeowners that I manage stuff to and my own personal properties as well. So anyway, the moral of the story is it's not an additional extra 15%. Okay, it's going to be the same price at the end of the day, more or less, to the guest, right? And especially since I'm marking mine up 18%, and if you, again, look at what Airbnb says themselves, if you were on the 3% program and then they were getting 14 to 18% or whatever, they're still really paying the same thing. That doesn't mean it's not damaging to us in the host community, in my opinion. It'll be less damaging once everyone's on the same page, but still the problem is most people don't realize how expensive Airbnb is to use. I mean, it's effectively 18% extra, you know, so especially we're kind of in tough economic times, and, you know, bookings aren't just flying off the shelf like they used to. People are being more conservative with their shopping approach and looking for value. And, you know, I've seen more, I'm sure people out there too, you're seeing more requests for a lower price or something like that. And they're not maybe realizing that 18% of that price is Airbnb. Like, how much lower do you want me to go while Airbnb does not lower their rates ever, right? So, you know, and I'm not bashing Airbnb. I mean, especially now they're publicly traded companies, their duty to make a profit, and, you know, it is what it is. And there's a lot of great things about Airbnb. It's a really buttery smooth, lovely product, you know, like the product is amazing. It absolutely works. They drive bookings. They've got still a little too on the guest side of things, in my opinion, on letting guests kind of run over host and review hostage and stuff. That's gotten slightly better. They've gotten better over time with how they will repair things that get damaged or whatever. That process is better than it used to be. And certainly they drive traffic, you know. I actually really like the Hotels Tonight acquisition, and even you get a 10% Airbnb credit on every dollar you spend in Hotels Tonight, which I use Hotels Tonight a lot. It's actually a pretty good deal. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to like about Airbnb, but there's certainly a lot of things to criticize them on. But anyway, it doesn't matter really what you think about this, to be honest with you, because it's happening. And if you want to be on Airbnb and accept Airbnb bookings, then this is something you have to deal with. My personal recommendation, is go ahead and dive into it. If you're on a PMS, go ahead and dive into it. Up your fees, and almost all PMS systems do this to some degree. Again, I use Guesty. It's pretty easy to do it there. And even if you're just a private host, just using Airbnb only, you might as well go ahead and do it and just raise your prices up by effectively 15% if you still have some kind of hard money target that you're doing, because between now and December 1st, you'll get an extra benefit of being higher in the internal search algorithms inside of Airbnb. So you might as well do it. Anyway, that's the whole story with this thing. There's just a lot of misunderstanding, I feel, out there, and a lot of angst, and rightfully so. It's an angsty looking kind of thing. It looks pretty serious. And there's some negatives to it, but it's the same money at the end of the day. It's the same money. So anyway, if you watched the video this far, thank you. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel here. I'm just starting out with this channel and going to be adding a lot more content to it. I would love to see any kind of comments that you have, positive, negative. You can insult me if you want to. I think it's funny if you do. I love seeing clever insults too. So feel free to put those down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. And most importantly, have a wonderful day.